let's talk a little bit more about how is everything doing tasbih. I've given you the basic overview of that. Mufassirun talk about haqiqa and lisanul hal. What does that mean? How can you say the atheist is doing tasbih? How can you say that mushrik is doing tasbih? They're not doing tasbih. How can you say the shayateen are doing tasbih? They're not doing tasbih. How can the Quran say whatever's in the skies and whatever's in the earth is doing tasbih and will continue to do tasbih when the contradiction to that exists? For everyone, believers have always been the minority. Disbelievers have always been the majority. They do the anti-tasbih. So what does this mean? Allah is here referring to lisan al-hal. Lisan al-hal means the way that something is. So let me put that in the simplest way for you. If you see a beautiful painting, doesn't it speak or declare the creativity of the artist? If you see a marvel of engineering, isn't that a statement about the company that made it? So your work speaks for you. You understand that, right? An amazing building speaks for the architect. An amazing railroad system or highway system speaks of the government that put it together. If you cooked a delicious meal, it speaks of your culinary skill. Everything Allah created speaks of His perfection. You understand that analogy? It speaks. That's called lisan al-hal. But then comes a much more difficult question. If creation is imperfect, by the way, am I perfect? No. Are you perfect? No. Is anything in the world perfect, actually? No. The only one who's perfect is who? Is Allah. So now, here's the problem. Here's the philosophical problem. The problem is, if I see a beautiful painting, I say the artist is creative. But then how can I see something imperfect and then say the maker is perfect? We're saying everything declares how perfect Allah is. But everything itself is not perfect. So how is it an evidence that the maker of it is perfect? This is, by the way, a very common atheist argument. Oh, your God is so perfect? What about cockroaches? What about my cousin? The point is, actually, I was created to live, grow, and then die. And change, by definition, change actually means imperfection. If you need to make any changes to it, that means it's not already what? Perfect. Allah designed this universe, everything in it, and one thing that's constant in this universe is what? Change. Movement is change, isn't it? Energy is change. All of science is the study of change. History is the study of change. Actually, that's all we study is change. Allah designed things to change, but change for a purpose. The change itself is imperfect, but the purpose is perfect. It's not the fact that things are perfect. It's that they were made for a perfect reason. I was perfectly created to be born at this day, of this mother, in this family, in this situation, for these years, meet with these people. The plan for all of it is what? Perfect. In fact, that's actually the tasbih. Everything is being done according to a plan. It's the plan of Allah for everything that's actually perfect. And that's the tasbih of Allah, that whatever's in the skies is doing and whatever's in the earth is doing. وَالشَّمْسُ تَجْرِي لِمُسْتَقَرٍّ لَهَا. The sun moves according to an exact schedule and calculation. Why is Allah giving us that analogy? If you realize the sun is so precise, then you will realize everything Allah does is extremely what? Precise. But some things, the precision is easy for you to see. Other things, you can't see the precision, so you call it chaos. When human beings cannot understand a pattern, they call it chaos. And so they say, oh, the universe is in chaos. Well, Allah says, no, it's in order. You just don't have the algorithm figured out. It's a little more advanced for you, so you call it chaos. But actually, it's much bigger than you. It's in the ghaib. Okay? Then there's the argument of beauty. I've talked about it in Surah Al-Hadid, so I don't want to spend too much time on it here because we have so many other things to talk about, but I'll tell you briefly. Human beings are not created like squirrels or cats or camels or anything else. We don't just survive as a species. This is not even a religious conversation. This is common sense across the board. Doesn't matter what religion somebody comes from. Human beings pursue more than just survival. Isn't that true? I mean, people want to listen to more and more beautiful music, or they want to design more and more beautiful clothes, or design more and more beautiful homes. What is the common element between all of these things? For every one of our senses, we want to pursue more and more beauty, isn't it? In fact, even abstract beauty. People, even if it's not physical beauty, you just want to listen to some remarkable poetry or some amazing story, which is abstract beauty. It's just in your mind, but you want to hear it. You want to experience it. Human beings pursue beauty. Do camels pursue beauty? Do squirrels or cockroaches or ants or fish pursue beauty? No. Human beings pursue beauty in everything they do. And then we keep pursuing this thing called perfection. If you're just a gamer sitting there playing whatever, what are you playing nowadays? Call of Duty. Okay, fine. Be old school. That's fine. If you're playing a video game, if you're a real gamer, you gotta win every medal, finish 100% of the game, get every upgrade, because you have this insatiable desire to attain perfection, to get to the most beautiful. Where do you think that thirst came from to get more and more and more? Because we were originally in the company of Allah, who is perfect and the most beautiful, and Allah put in us, because of that company, the desire for more and more and more beautiful. And so our tasbih is actually different than the tasbih of everything else. Allah made our tasbih even more beautiful. It isn't just even the tasbih of perfection or purpose, it's the tasbih of the pursuit of beauty. We human beings do that more than any other creature, or unlike any other creature. Tasbih in this surah is going to have a special purpose. We'll discover that as we explore this surah, inshallah. Just about this ayah also, Allah mentioned the skies do tasbih first. Whatever's in the skies does tasbih, and whatever's in the earth does tasbih. Why are the skies mentioned first? Well, they came first. They do a lot better tasbih than us, because angels, they flood the sky. They do a lot better tasbih than we do. And there's a lot more to the skies than there is to the earth. Quantitatively, it's much, much more. So the greater tasbih is the skies, and then we get to the earth. The word ma is also really cool. I keep translating it as whatever's in the skies and whatever's in the earth. The word whatever creates, I wrote the Arabic word here, al-ibham. Ibham means ambiguity. It's not specific. And that means the way that tasbih happens is not specific, and who's doing tasbih has not been specified. And you don't know, someone who is rebelling against Allah today might be doing tasbih of Allah tomorrow. You don't know. The Umar bin al-Khattab that we knew before Islam and the Umar bin al-Khattab we know after Islam, maybe 5 minutes apart from each other. Before lack of tasbih, after a person of tasbih, right? And then I wrote an Arabic comment here, تقديم الجار والمجرور على الفاعل, which actually means that it is only to Allah that everything does tasbih. Nothing else deserves it. Nothing else is that perfect. What did you learn about tasbih so far? The image I want you to keep in your head. The swimmer that doesn't what? That doesn't submerge. That's the image, yeah? Allah says, Sabbih bismi rabbika al-azim. So Allah says, do tasbih with the name of Allah. I want you to understand that concept in a simple formula. One of Allah's names is Al-Malik. What does Al-Malik mean? Anybody? Good, the king. If you talk to anybody and say the king, are they immediately going to think of Allah or going to think of someone else? Someone else. The Arabs of Arabia, when they heard king, is their first thought Allah or is their first thought someone else? Someone else. The holy. There were holy people. There were holy saints. There were holy priests. There were holy institutions. When you hear the word Al-Quddus, the first thing that comes in somebody's mind is Allah or someone else? Someone else. When you say Al-Aziz, the authority, can also mean the minister, the governor. Allah or someone else? Someone else. Al-Hakim, the wise. When you say the wise one, are they thinking about Allah? Because it must have met some old man, must have met some author. These words, the mind goes to someone other than Allah immediately. You understand that, right? And Allah knows language better than we do. Allah is the creator of language. Allah chose words that take the mind to someone other than Allah. And that's part of the formula. Now I actually have to think about the king and what's behind king? Kingdom. The concept of kingdom. What's behind the holy? The concept of holiness and purity. What's behind the authority? The concept of power and authority. What's behind the wise? The concept of wisdom. I have to think about these concepts and how human beings show these concepts. And then I have to remove all the imperfections that human beings have per concept. And once I remove all of them, the name will have tasbih. Now it's ready for Allah. So actually, the words as we hear them are imperfect. They're imperfect. Now we have to do the exercise of cleaning them. And what's the exercise of cleaning them called? Tasbih. That's the exercise. So when Allah says, يُسَبِّحُ لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ الْمَلِكِ الْقُدُّوسِ الْعَزِيزِ الْحَكِيمِ, we're going to try to do tasbih of each one of these names. Because that's what's being demanded of us, you understand? And that's how tasbih works. It's a really beautiful exercise. It's a mental exercise and even a spiritual exercise that we're going to engage in so we can appreciate something really awesome about this opening ayah. Barakallahu li wa lakum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.